In this world, bringing it back to us, you can't guide those who you love. When you read the story of Nuh alayhi salam and that painful moment with his son, a prophet who called to Allah for 950 years, only had about 80 or so people, and a man who loves his wife and who loves his son so much. The shahada of the wife of Nuh alayhi salam, the testimony of his wife or his son, would be so much more beloved to him probably than everybody else, right? It's your family, and he doesn't have that. What happens to Lut alayhi salam when his own wife does not accept him? What happens to Asiya radiyallahu anha when she is all alone? What happens to Ibrahim alayhi salam when it is even his father that does not accept his message, right? At some point, you either resign yourself and you say, you know what, I can't do anymore. I just can't help this person anymore. I can only pray for them. And sometimes that person will die without you having been able to come to their aid or come to their help or come to their rescue to help them see the error of their ways and to move forward. Even, and it's not just human beings, by the way, even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, though Allah always leaves the door of tawbah open, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about a group of people who insist upon that disobedience and no reminder is benefiting them whatsoever at this point. You know what, you want this dunya? Take it. Go ahead and take this world. The tests are not working. The hardships are not reminding you. The ease is, you know what, take the dunya. Go ahead. And then they get all that and they get happy. And then we take those people suddenly, just like that, and then they're left in a state of despair. So even for some people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them reminder after reminder after reminder, and then at some point, you know what, take the dunya. Go ahead, take it. Take this world. This is what you wanted, take it. That's not that Allah has closed the door of tawbah, but that person has locked their own heart. Say our hearts are protected from, we just don't want guidance. Let us make our own mistakes. Think about every single night when you go to sleep, that angel that prods you. Every single night when you go to sleep, the Prophet ﷺ said that two angels descend upon you, or that an angel descends upon you, and a shaitan descends upon you as well. An angel and a devil. And the angel tells you as you're going to sleep, ikhtim bi khair, ikhtim bi khair. And the devil says, ikhtim bi shar, ikhtim bi shar. The angel says, end well, end this night with dhikr. End this night with the remembrance of Allah. End it well, prods you, says, go ahead, end it well. And the devil says, end it evil, end it with evil, end it with evil. To that very last moment when you close your eyes, even that malak, that angel that's trying to help you see your way so that you don't do the wrong thing. So what does this mean for us? There are so many people in here that are struggling with their children. So many people that are struggling with their friends. Some that are struggling with their parents. Some that are struggling with their siblings. Some that have a friend that they love and they try to give their children nasiha. They try to give them advice. They try so hard to give their parents advice. They try so hard to give their siblings advice. They try so hard to give their friends advice. They're on a destructive path, about to do something to ruin themselves, and you say, look, stop. I'm trying to help you, and it's not working. They're running right in front of the train, faster than the train is coming. And you see it, and you're trying, but your advice is not working. And so there are a few things that I want to leave you all with, inshaAllah ta'ala. Number one, you can't help someone who's not willing to help themselves. We know that. But you can still love them even when your efforts have failed. They can't stop you from making dua for them. Ibrahim alayhi salam told his father, even as his father completely rejected him, to a point that it was not viable for him to continue trying to talk to him. Talking to him is of no benefit now. You know, when you've tried with a parent, you tried with a friend, look, you're going to mess up, you're making a mistake, and they're just not listening anymore. And Ibrahim alayhi salam says to his father, listen, peace be unto you, I'm going to seek forgiveness for you. It's no longer beneficial for me to call you, I'm just going to make dua for you at this point. But he's not saying I'm going to make dua for you in an aggressive way, he's saying it in a loving way. I'm going to make dua for you. You're still in my prayers, I still love you, I still want what's good for you. So the first thing is you can't help someone who's not willing, but you can still love them while your efforts have failed. The second thing, you need to ask yourself why you are so vested in that person's success or salvation. It can't be for you, but it has to be for that person's good, and that shows, or that has to show in your words and your actions. Sometimes parents want their children to not make massive mistakes, not because they're worried about the consequences on their children, but because they're worried about shame being brought to the family. And your child will see through that. If you're so invested in your friends, in different people, and you're saying, look, don't mess up, don't do this, I'm trying to help you. They need to know, it needs to constantly be conveyed through your words, through your actions, that this is for you. This is out of love for you. And that's the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ did not want Abu Jahl to be a show pony, right? Put him on a vessel and say, look, I've got Abu Jahl as a Muslim now. Prophet ﷺ wanted good for these people. So when you're calling someone, when you're trying to give someone nasiha and they're not listening, make sure you're conveying, look, this is for you. I promise you, it's not for you. And that has to show in your actions as well. Number 3, plant the seeds and know that sometimes the harvest takes time. Isn't that what the Prophet ﷺ tells us about the Day of Judgment? When you plant the seeds, sometimes it's going to take time. Sometimes you're not going to see the efforts right away. Sometimes your child, and parents hate to hear this especially with their children, sometimes your child is going to have to face the consequences of their bad choices, and then all of your advice suddenly makes sense. It's like, I've been telling you this for 10 years, and then your child comes back at 21, 22 and says, you know, Dad, you were right. It's like, why did you have to fall so much? Why did you have to bang your head against the ground before you listened? Unfortunately, sometimes people have to make their mistakes. And then you hope that their consequences will not be too severe and that they come back to you and they rectify themselves rather than try to remedy a mistake with another mistake. Number 4, don't neglect others in your life that don't demand negative attention. Sometimes you got multiple kids, one of them is a drain, and because of that, you only respond to negative attention. The message that you're sending to the other kids is that if you want my attention, you got to start messing up a little bit more, and then I'll pay attention to you. Sometimes we mistreat one group of friends, one group of siblings, one group of people. We don't give them their huquq, their rights, because they're not doing anything negative. You don't neglect others for anyone else. The 5th one and the last one. Help those people see how their actions have worldly consequences and hurt the people that they love if the akhirah is not appealing to them. You know, Imam bin Qudama rahimahullah, he said that if the way for you to leave a haram is to scare yourself over a dunyawi consequence, over a worldly consequence, then do that until the akhirah becomes your motivation. But the idea here is right now you need to disconnect yourself from the haram. So if when you're talking to someone who's doing a lot of things that are hurting people, hurting their spouses, hurting their children, hurting their parents, hurting their families, if the akhirah is just not interesting to them at this point, the hereafter, all that other stuff, try to use what works as a temporary measure until it's Allah and the hereafter that become the primary drivers. And my last advice, dear brothers and sisters, don't despair in people, because if they see you despair in them, that might be what causes them to despair in themselves. Show people that you believe in them, that you're not giving up on them, because they're going to hit a low point if they're making mistakes, and eventually, when that happens, they're going to wonder if they have a chance to come back. And you always have to be in their corner, even if they've pushed you into a corner, and say you do have a way back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you do have a way to come back to that success and that salvation. And the very last advice to everyone on the other side of this: if someone is trying to help you or give you nasiha, give you advice, if someone loves you and cares enough about you to make an effort to stop you from doing something that they believe is wrong and a major mistake, if they don't do it in a perfect way, overlook those imperfections in the way that they're trying to help you, and instead appreciate the fact that they're trying to help you. Sometimes our parents who love us, our spouses who love us, our children, our friends, our siblings, they might make a mistake, but because they want to help us, they might say something that's a little insensitive. That doesn't excuse the insensitivity, it doesn't excuse the mistake, but try to appreciate at least that there is an effort, that there's something that's well-meaning, because a lot of times it is well-meaning. A lot of times it is well-meaning. Someone's trying to help you, they don't hate you, And when you interpret their advice, which you see as contrary to the path that you've decided to take, when you interpret that as them hating you, then you're missing the entire point. People that love you will sometimes make mistakes in their love for you. Appreciate that effort because it comes from a good place. And try to find a way, inshaAllah ta'ala, to see through those imperfections in those efforts. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to always make us amongst those who are both the recipients and the givers of good, to make us amongst those who are the recipients and givers of guidance. Allahumma ameen.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Hope this video was helpful for you. This may help others too, so please consider sharing, and we will bring more videos in the future, inshallah. So consider subscribing and you won't miss any. Jazakallahu khairan.